Will Smith, the unstoppable force of Hollywood, the face of courage, laughter, and heartbreak. From Independence Day to the Pursuit of Happyness, his charisma lit up screens and hearts across the globe. Yet behind that radiant smile lay a man forged in pain, haunted by memories that success could never erase. His journey is not just a tale of fame and fortune. It's a saga of survival, regret, and resilience. From the frightened boy in West Philadelphia to the most powerful actor in Hollywood, Will's story reveals how even the brightest stars are shadowed by storms, and how one moment can crown a king, or break him. A childhood shaped by fear and silence. Willard Carroll Smith Jr. was born on September 25, 1968 in Philadelphia. His early years appeared comfortable, but inside his home, chaos ruled. His father, a strict man of discipline, often clashed with his gentle mother, Caroline. One night when Will was just 9, he witnessed his father strike his mother, a moment that froze him in terror and shame. That image would never leave him. He later confessed that his silence that night made him feel like a coward. To cope, he turned to humor, transforming pain into laughter. Jokes became his shield, charm his disguise. Behind every smile was a scared child longing for peace. The laughter that would one day make the world adore him began as his only way to survive the noise of heartbreak and fear. Finding refuge in rhythm and words. The streets of West Philadelphia became Will's classroom for resilience. As a teenager, he discovered hip-hop, the rhythm that gave him voice and power. He teamed up with Jeffrey Towns, DJ Jazzy Jeff, forming a duo that revolutionized rap's tone. Their music was playful, clean, and full of joy, breaking barriers in a genre often defined by aggression. Their hit Parents Just Don't Understand made them household names, and won the first-ever Grammy for Best Rap Performance. Yet behind the glory, Will felt alienated. Hardcore rappers dismissed him as too soft. The world that gave him fame also denied him respect. Still, he kept smiling, refusing to let rejection define him. Success filled his pockets, but not his soul. Fame had arrived, but validation had not. And that quiet ache would follow him for years. From fortune to failure, the price of fame. By the early 1990s, success had turned to chaos. Will was only 20, rich beyond imagination, but careless with money. Lavish spending and poor financial management soon led to disaster. The IRS came knocking, and nearly all his assets vanished. Cars gone, houses gone, reputation fading. The young superstar was broke. "I had a hit record and a Grammy," he later said, "and then suddenly, I was broke." The fall was devastating. His fame became a memory, and humility became his teacher. He learned that talent alone doesn't protect you from the consequences of naivety. Just as quickly as the world lifted him, it let him crash. But rock bottom for Will Smith was not an end. It was a rebirth waiting in disguise. The Fresh Prince of Second Chance's salvation arrived through an unlikely door: a party. In 1990, at the brink of financial ruin, Will met the legendary producer Quincy Jones. Quincy saw something in him: energy, presence, spark. He urged Will to audition on the spot for a new sitcom. Despite his hesitation, Will performed right there in the living room, turning a casual gathering into his stage. The room erupted. In that instant, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was born. Overnight, the broke rapper became a television star. The show was a cultural revolution, blending humor, heart, and hip-hop into a new American dream. For 6 seasons, he made millions laugh, cry, and believe. What began as survival had become stardom once again. Quincy's gamble became Will's resurrection, proof that destiny never truly shuts its door, even after failure. From TV icon to Hollywood powerhouse. By the mid-1990s, Will Smith had conquered television. Now, Hollywood awaited. His transition from sitcom star to action hero seemed impossible, until Bad Boys exploded onto screens in 1995. Then came Independence Day in 1996, turning him into a global savior. Men in Black cemented his reign as the king of cool. Every film was bigger, louder, and more successful. He had become the face of a generation, charming, heroic, flawless. Yet behind the perfection, exhaustion grew. Fame was no longer joy. It was a prison of expectation. Critics called him too polished, too safe. The man who once performed to survive now performed to maintain an image. He admitted later, "No matter what I did, people only saw the image, not the person." Beneath the superstar, the boy who once hid behind laughter was still trapped inside. Becoming Ali, the role that nearly broke him. In 2001, Will took a leap that would redefine him, portraying Muhammad Ali in Ali. It was his boldest challenge yet. He trained relentlessly, gaining muscle, perfecting Ali's cadence and spirit. But the process pushed him to his limits. Every punch, every scene became a battle against self-doubt. He wasn't just acting, he was becoming. The weight of embodying a cultural icon nearly broke him, both physically and mentally. Yet, through the exhaustion, he found purpose. The performance earned him his first Academy Award nomination. For Will, it wasn't just validation, it was redemption. But when the applause faded, he was left empty. The world saw Ali. He saw a man still trying to prove he was enough, not to Hollywood but to himself. Tears of redemption, the pursuit of happiness. If Ali tested his endurance, the pursuit of happiness tested his soul. In 2006, Will played Chris Gardner, a father struggling against poverty to protect his son. The performance was raw, personal, and heartbreakingly real. Acting alongside his real-life son, Jaden, he channeled every wound from his childhood, the helplessness, the fear, the vow that his own children would never suffer as he did. Every tear on screen came from truth. The film earned him another Oscar nomination, but more importantly, it gave him peace. "Everything I've done comes from trying to protect my mother," he once said. In that role, he finally did, symbolically shielding her, his children, and the frightened boy he once was. The laughter that built his empire had turned to tears, healing ones. The night the crown shattered. March 27th, 2022, the night that changed everything. After decades of dominance, Will Smith reached his pinnacle, winning the Oscar for King Richard. It should have been his crowning moment, but it became his downfall. A joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's illness provoked something buried deep within him. In a moment of rage, he walked onto the stage and struck comedian Chris Rock across the face. The world froze. Applause turned to gasps. The man who had embodied control and grace now stood as the symbol of chaos. The consequences were swift and severe. A 10-year Oscars ban, halted film projects, and global backlash. The crown he'd fought for all his life slipped from his grasp. "It was a scar for life," he admitted later. The king of Hollywood had fallen, not through scandal, but through emotion unrestrained. The long road to redemption. In the aftermath, Will Smith faced not a career crisis, but a spiritual reckoning. The laughter, fame, and power that once shielded him were gone. What remained was silence. He began to speak, publicly, vulnerably, repeatedly. "I was wrong," he said. "I hurt people and I regret it deeply." There was no script, no director, only truth. His apologies revealed a man confronting the shadows he'd avoided all his life. For the first time, the world saw not a hero, but a human being. His fall became his teacher. The slap that humiliated him also stripped him bare, forcing him to rediscover humility, patience, and self-control. His story became a mirror for millions, showing how even greatness can falter, and how redemption begins only when one faces their own reflection. legacy of light and shadow. Will Smith's life is a paradox. Triumph woven with tragedy, laughter shadowed by pain. From a frightened boy in Philadelphia to a Hollywood legend, his journey has never been linear. It has been a battle between the performer and the person, between the crown and the conscience. His rise, fall, and redemption stand as proof that greatness is not perfection, it's perseverance. Will once said, "Pain is the doorway to growth." And indeed, his scars have become his strength. The slap will remain in history, but so will the lessons born from it, that control is mightier than rage, that healing is louder than applause, and that even the brightest light of Hollywood can find its way through darkness and stand once again